Good morning, Brownsville. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you are watching this feed. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Frankie Olivo. Our program focuses on the very important issues that are affecting our local community. We have shed light on injustices and allowed our platform to be that of the voice of the people. Now, if this is something that you can see yourself supporting, we ask of you that you like, comment, and share this live feed. Now, as of late, our Facebook page is at risk of being taken down. The powers that be do not want you to know the truth. But remember, fam, I will not be silenced. And if you were really about the cause and you really want to stand up to corruption and hold our leaders accountable, well, make sure you follow our social media platforms. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube account. We could be found under Frankie Olivo TV. We're also going to be streaming on X, formerly known as Twitter. You could find us there under Frankie Olivo. Now, after this program, as we've been doing previously, we will be sharing our sister links that I previously just mentioned. That way, you can make sure that you follow all our social media platforms. Remember, fam, even though we may go dark on Facebook, remember, Good Morning Brownsville, rain or shine, will come on religiously Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. So make sure you subscribe to all of our social media accounts to tune in. We will not be silenced. And once again, I thank you for your time and your patience with me. And once again, thank you for being here. I greatly appreciate it. How we doing, chat? How we doing, fam? Breaking news, it's raining. Just in case, a little FYI, just in case my power goes out, it's because of the weather, okay? I live in the hood, so it happens. But nonetheless, it's hump day, one day closer to Wednesday. I hear thunder right now outside. We always welcome the rain. To me, I love gloomy days. This is my favorite day. I got to meet some clients in the afternoon. I wish I could stay in, but we got to go work. But again, happy Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in. It should be a great show today. We'll be talking about the Republican Party of Cameron County. So make sure you stay tuned. Now, our program today, we will focus on Cameron County and how we feel as if you, the voters of Cameron County, should be made aware of what has been transpiring as of late. Again, we always try to give the people, my constituents, my raza, the information, because we have learned that information is very powerful. I would like to address myself to the heavy hitters of Cameron County. This message goes to Mr. Joey Lopez, Representatives Aaron Gomez, Jenny Lopez, Mr. Steve Guerra, Port Director, and Judge Eddie Trevino. We welcome you to the program, and we would like for you to stay and stay tuned throughout the duration of our show. We will give you a little insight into the plans of the Republican Party. Maybe this is information that you may know already. Maybe it's not. But that is my job, to bring you the good, the bad, and the ugly, ladies and gentlemen. We here at Good Morning Brownsville, we pride ourselves in bringing you just that. Today we'll be focusing on the Republican Party, whose ideologies has been one of having a strong focus on conservative and family values. It is a party that is very zealous in the conservative movement. Liberals have been trying to tap into the conservative party, which is the Republicans, and they have seen tension, because at the end of the day, everybody knows the Republican Party as being one of conservatives. Now, the Republican Party here in Cameron County, they are trying to make waves. They have seen how the Democrats have been losing ground, so to speak. And today we'll be talking about how we feel as if the Republicans, they see blood in the water and they're willing to risk it all because the Democrats, they know very well that the Democrats will be fighting to gain back their leadership, gain back their positions that they lost. Midterms are coming right around the corner, which should be very, very interesting. So today we want to talk about the Republican Party. We want to talk about those ideologies of being conservatives. The Republican parties are strong supporters and believers of President Trump and his quest to protect the American interest at all costs. Now, I want to pose to you the question: is the Republican Party desperate enough to tarnish their credibility in allowing a questionable candidate to receive their endorsement? It's a valid question, I would say, chat. Wouldn't you? Today, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be talking about how Pedrito Cárdenas is being heavily endorsed by the Republican Party. They just had a meeting yesterday, and it's going to be interesting to learn what we found out from that meeting. Again, we have spoken about Mr. Cárdenas and his allegations of having Hello, hello. Is the world still here? They're trying to take us down, chat. They're trying to take us down. We will not go down without a fight. Did you lose signal too? Damn, Spectrum. Are we down? We're back up. Is everybody good? Is everybody good? Everybody good, chat? Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up if everybody's good, chat. I apologize. Technical difficulties again. We will not be silenced, ladies and gentlemen. Give me a thumbs up. Hey, Janet, I live in the hood. Our lights went out. Are we back? Thumbs up, chat. Thumbs up if we're good. Thumbs up. All right, I see thumbs up. Woo! I was like, no! The biggest story, no! Damn, let me get a break. Thumbs up, chat, if we're good. We good now. All right, we good. We froze. All right. All of us froze, right? Was it just me, chat? Just making sure? Oh, it was just me. My bad. I apologize. Thank you so much for staying with me, chat. Joey. All right, chat. I apologize. I didn't do that on purpose. Hey, man. Technology, baby. You got to learn how to go. Just for the sake of argument. Let's get back right into it. Thank you so much, fam. I apologize for that. Where were we? Again, today we will focus on the Republican Party and who's their ideologies of having a strong focus on conservative family values. Now I'm beginning to question that of Cameron County, the Republicans. Do they still value strong conservative values? Again, we are all strong supporters of President Trump and his quest to protect American interests at all costs. And again, I pose to you the question, is the Republican Party of Cameron County, are they desperate enough to tarnish their credibility in allowing a questionable character to receive their endorsement? Today, chat. Today, yes, we will not be silenced. I appreciate each and every one of you. Today, chat, we'll be talking about how Pedrito Cárdenas is being heavily endorsed by the Republican Party, even though we've made serious allegations about his character and his background. Heck, even Gustavo de Leon, who was endorsed by the Cameron County Republican Party, he is a former federal agent. We are making strong allegations against his character too. He does not have 2 weeks that he's been sworn into office. And what have we seen? That he is already strong-arming the city manager's office along with Pedrito Cárdenas to get Carlos Elizondo, who's there on the screen down here, a job. That's called nepotism. Today, we'll be talking about how Pedrito Cárdenas is being endorsed by the Republican Party. Now, there's serious allegations of him having ties to the mafia on the other side. Now, again, before I go into the show, I don't want you to think that I'm saying that all of the Republicans think this way. Not at all. I did get some feedback into people saying, "Hey, Frankie, it's not everybody. Not all of us are in support of this, of endorsing a candidate because they watch the show, Good Morning Brownsville. But those in leadership positions, they are the ones that are taking the reins and to me are causing the party as a whole to look bad." Again, what have we shown? What have we seen? We have seen how Pedrito Cárdenas is not the right man for the job and he should not receive the endorsement of the Republican Party. You, my people of Cameron County, you deserve to know the real Pedro Cárdenas. Voters should be aware that Mr. Cárdenas, he does have no source of income except that stipend that is given to city elected officials on the commission. He previously was running the family business, a restaurant, but he wasn't paying his taxes. He wasn't paying the liquor license. He was stealing servers' tips. It took Mr. Cárdenas 6 months to file a campaign finance report of a reported $100,000. Now, I'm no white-collar crime expert, but to me, that sounds like somebody was washing money. But what do I know? Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for sticking with us. And let's start today's show. Ow!
Is big federal, big ticket races. And I expect that this has happened more in line with the midterms. So I really expected that to happen by the midterms, 52 to 47%. So that was my prediction yesterday. And for Cameron County, and again, let me go back. So that's my prediction that I talked about yesterday. And those are the results. You can see 52.5 to 46.75, which was pretty spot on to what I had predicted yesterday to happen sometime between now and 2028. Now, again, I did not expect it to happen this soon, but it did happen nonetheless. And let's go back to Hidalgo, or let's go to Hidalgo County. Same thing. I had called 53 to 46%. And while I didn't get that one, it was 51 to 48. I was trending in the right direction there. I had afforded the Republicans a few more percentage points.
Now, again, the Republican Party has been making waves as of late. Who can forget this past November? It showed us how there was a red wave, not just here in Cameron County, but it seems as if throughout the whole United States. It first started because of Trump back in 2016. Now, while the Rio Grande Valley still didn't turn out red, we did see someone who was successful. Mayra Flores became the first Mexican-born woman to be sworn into Congress, which to me, being Mexicans, that's a big deal. And Mayra Flores winning against Dan Sanchez, that was the beginning of the Republicans' dominance here in South Texas. Now, President Trump, again, going back to this past November, everybody was shocked. Everybody was anticipating a red wave 2 years ago. And when it didn't come, everybody's like, really? That was a fluff. But weren't we all surprised what happened when we saw how the Rio Grande Valley, how President Trump won all of the South Texas border counties? And this further provided proof that the Republican voters, they are increasing in South Texas, which is, we could argue, was once a Democrat stronghold region. Not anymore. Now it's a competition. Now it's a fight. And these counties that President Trump turned red include Cameron County, Hidalgo, Star, Zapata, Webb, Maverick, Kinney, and Valverde. Now, I'm more than sure that Republicans in Cameron County, they are supportive of President Trump and his quest to destabilize cartels. He has campaigned on the idea that we do need militarization. It's been a problem in Mexico that needs to get fixed. Why? Because the cartels, they send drugs and death to our youth, to our country. So it boggles my mind how the Republican Party of Cameron County is well aware of Mr. Pedrito Cárdenas' character and his affiliations to shady individuals, but yet leadership, they still endorse the candidate in the city of Brownsville runoff elections, in which we currently find ourselves in a runoff. If you haven't already, make sure you go out to vote. We have until Election Day, Tuesday. So make sure you go out to vote. Now, the Republican Party, ladies and gentlemen, the Republican Party, they have bet the farm on putting their fate in the hands of very questionable characters such as Carlos Elizondo, Gustavo de Leon, and Pedrito Cárdenas. Now, these individuals, they are behaving like capos. I showed you a diagram of how it's all intertwined. And these individuals are colluding. If this isn't a RICO charge, I don't know what is. They are putting their people in PUB, promising them contracts, money, kickbacks. Heck, we even made an allegation that recently appointed PUB member Martin Sarkis was going to be taking over at BISD. These are the type of individuals that your party, the Republican Party, is endorsing. Makes me wonder, because in reality, these individuals of Pedrito Cárdenas, Gustavo de Leon, and Carlos Elizondo, they're only about themselves. They have conspired to backroom deals, quid pro quo. They're being part of that compadre system. They're not being transparent with you or your party. But that's where Good Morning Brownsville comes in. Now, President Trump, again, President Trump has been very, very vocal in his quest and on his stance in regards to drug cartels, because he is characterized, he has openly stated repeatedly that he has a strong desire to aggressively combat them. Why? Because he views them as a significant threat to our national security. And here is a few breaking points in regards to his train of thought. Now, he does want stricter sanctions and restrictions on financial transactions involving designated organizations. He has characterized cartels as being foreign terroristic organizations. Again, I'm making the accusation that Pedrito Cárdenas, it took him 7 months to file a campaign finance report in which reportedly $100,000 was being washed. Isn't this against what President Trump is about, Republican Party? He is also in favor of deploying troops to the border, increasing law enforcement presence, and targeting these networks. There's going to be increased sanctions and financial measures taken by Trump's administration against high-ranking cartel members. Now, again, we are making serious allegations, ladies and gentlemen. Allegations that we've already been threatened with our life by one of your candidates that we'll be talking shortly. Now, the Republican Party currently right now is being led by this so-called or self-titled dynamic duo. Heck, even your chairwoman calls her running mate, her Robin, her Batman, the legend. Now, it's important to understand that these individuals, they do not listen to the concerns of other party members. We have learned that whenever people start to question why the party would endorse a shady character such as Pedrito Cárdenas, well, Deborah Bell and her family, they're very quick. They're very quick to speak, to intimidate, and to control by force. They try to silence those individuals that are curious. Why are we doing this? Why are we endorsing this candidate? Now, Morgan Graham elevated these two ladies. She gave them the opportunity to serve. They kicked someone from Port Isabel out of Dodge. Deborah and Susan, they didn't want to ratify the rules, and they gave Morgan a hard time. Again, they turned their backs on Morgan. It's interesting once we learn the real people and what they're all about. It's sad to report that people who have genuine concerns in regards to the party, they're being turned a blind eye. By who? By none other than the chairwoman and her husband and her mom, who are making sure that other people keep quiet. We don't care about what you think. This is what's going to happen. Now, some people are questioning, why are we getting involved in this municipal races? Now, again, we have a very charismatic, a very outspoken person, a part of that Republican Party, who she claims to be for the people. I have called Susan out, and I have said, Susan, how can you endorse a candidate that has all these skeletons in his closet? Why isn't Susan telling her community about an ethical complaint that was filed against Pedrito Cardenas? Why not? It's funny because Susan Rubalcaba posted a few years ago, 2 years ago, in September of 2023, she questioned Mr. Pedrito Cardenas, that individual that she's endorsing. There was an agenda item in which, and I'll go ahead and read it. She states, Cardenas family contract. The Tuesday commission meeting, Pedro Cardenas abstained from voting on agenda item, consideration and approval of the first renewal of the contract agreement with Atelier for $6,900, let's say $7,000 as budgeted. All other members in favor voted in favor of the contract owned and operated by Jorge Cardenas, which happens to be a family member of Pedrito Cardenas. Now, Susan goes out to say, if this is a family member of Commissioner Cardenas, just so we know, and she did her investigation. Now, what do you have it? It's funny how time changes everything, right? Because I came across this and I shared it. And guess what? Susan blocked it. So it was a bad thing back then, Susan, that you posted on your Susan Rubalcaba for the people. It was a bad thing. It was a questionable thing that a sitting commissioner had family member making money off the city. Now you may say, well, he abstained. Yes, but it still looks bad, Susan. Why did you post it back in 2023? It's a problem then, but it's not a problem today. Again, questionable characters. This is your leadership. Her mom and her husband are there at the meetings. And whenever somebody has a complaint, whenever somebody has wants to go into detail, they're quick to stand up, raise their hand, and intimidate and say, hey, shh, you be quiet. Be quiet. I was told, ladies and gentlemen, that the party prefers dark-complected Mexicans that are poor and uneducated. Those are serious allegations made by a member of the community, a member of the Republican Party. That's hardcore. And again, speaking of Ms. Deborah Bell, I'm not sure if you tuned in yesterday, but I want to go into detail a little bit more since I have the attention of the Cameron County Republican Party. Ms. Deborah Bell, I made a show on Monday titled, Oh, Brownsville, What a Tangled Web We Weave. And throughout our investigations, we presented the diagram in which I showed you previously of how commissioners De Leon, Cardenas, De Los Santos were colluding with individuals to get them Trey Mendez a city attorney job, to get Martin Sarkis appointed to PUB, eventually to BISD, and also how Gustavo de Leon and Pedrito Cardenas were strong-arming the city manager's office to hire Carlos Elizondo. Well, Ms. Deborah Bell did not like what I said about her candidates. And she stated, wow, you have an hour and a half to talk to yourself? Who does that? Now, this must be your only source of income. Again, does Ms. Deborah Bell work? Bring me up, chat. Does Ms. Deborah Bell work? She says that, hey, you have an hour and a half to talk to yourself. Really? Ms. Bell, I'm not sure if you're aware, but Good Morning Brownsville it's in the lips and in the minds of all of Cameron County. We're proud to say that we're averaging 8,000 to 10,000 views per episode. So no, ma'am, I'm not talking to myself. I'm talking to my world. I'm talking to my people. And my people come out and listen what we have to say because they know that we have the facts. And they know that we follow the truth, that we seek the truth, no matter what dark alley or what questionable characters that we thought were our friends aren't our friends no more. But this is your leadership position. These are people that are telling you that they are for you, that they are for the people. Let's continue. So she says that I talked too long, an hour and a half. It was Memorial Day where the world was off, okay? She says that this is my only source of income. No, baby girl, I'm an insurance broker. I work all on commission. If I don't sell, I don't eat. But I'm darn good at what I do, very good at what I do, and I'm proud and humbled by it. And I ask you, do you have a job, ma'am? Or do you depend on your husband's salary as a principal at IDEA? Which is it? Now she says, you have lost credibility and you're embarrassing yourself, Frankie. Really, ma'am? I go on to say, Ms. Deborah Bell, you should be embarrassed that you are supporting a candidate that doesn't even have a job. We talked about Pedrito. He was running a family business. He couldn't manage it. So his family took it away from him. They put his sister to run the show. We made allegations. He's stolen tips from his employees. It took him 7 months to file his campaign finance report. Isn't that sketchy? Heck, there's allegations that he doesn't even live in the district. But yet I'm embarrassing Ms. Bell? Really? Please, girl. I go on to state, you do know it's Memorial Day, right? Everyone was off. So yes, I do have an hour and a half to spare. But that led me to question, what other Democrats besides Pedrito are the Republican Party supporting? Just so we know. I think it's fair for us to know, right? And I posed her the question, which she didn't answer, of course. What deal do you have with Pedro in exchange for Republican Party support? Which of the candidates will he be supporting? Oh, look at this. Thank you so much. I wonder who got them together. Let me bring this up. Thank you so much to my people for helping me with this. So again, I am attacking the credibility, ladies and gentlemen. I'm attacking the credibility of leadership because they are saying that they are for the people. They are telling you that they are for the people. Really? No, ladies and gentlemen, they have an agenda. And that is that they are so desperate. They are so desperate that they're willing to let an individual with a sketchy background, with a sketchy skeletons in their closet. They're desperate enough to let him be the endorsement of the Republican Party. Again, we're talking about President Trump. He's against the cartels. And yes, we support Trump. But do we support him across the board? Or only when it's convenient for us? Because again, according to Susan, for the people, she is against corruption. But when corruption is right in front of her, in that of Pedro Cardenas, she says nothing? Really, ladies and gentlemen? And again, we pose the question. What are you doing, ma'am? What are you doing? Bring it up. What are you doing, ma'am? the last question that we pose. What deal do you have with Pedro in exchange for Republican Party support? Which of your candidates is he going to support? And look at this, ladies and gentlemen. This is Bam Morales, who will be running against Vicente Gonzalez for District 34. This is the Republican Party's candidate. Now, again, we have talked about the web. We have talked about how individuals such as Gustavo de Leon, Carlos Elizondo, Pedrito Cárdenas, how they are targeting these individuals. They are saying these are the right candidates for us. But are they really, ladies and gentlemen? Are they really? Again, this is the individual that will be the candidate, according to sources, to challenge Vicente. Now let's take a look at Bam Morales. Here we have Mr. Bam Morales for Congress. He goes on to state, voting hasn't ended yet, people. Brownsville has big wins this past Saturday. First, the arena proposal failed, again, with an overwhelming majority who voted against it. Second, I want to give a shout out to Alejandro Garcia, a true man of God. A true man of God who stepped up to serve his community. God has great plans for you, Alejandro. They're sucking him off because they want the conservative vote. Again, these Republicans, they're sketchy. They play with words. They're only godlike. They're only conservative when it benefits them. Pedrito's going with Alejandro Garcia to church only because it's the runoff. When do we see Pedrito posting pictures of him in church? I don't see it. Maybe you can show me. But again, let's go back. Look what Bam says. Congratulations to Gustavo de Leon on his victory as our next commissioner for District 3. And to who? To Pedro Cárdenas for getting first place in a crowded race. They are in a runoff to make sure that anti-Christians, such as Roy de los Santos, is sent packing home for good. And to get good people elected to move Brownsville forward. Really, ladies and gentlemen? Really? I wonder, ladies and gentlemen, I pose you the question, who do you think brought these people together? Who do you think? Here we have Mayra Flores' former assistant. I think now she's something to do with the Republican Party. We have Pedrito Cárdenas, who's currently in a runoff, who we are alleging that he's bad, that he's corrupt to the core. Corrupt to the core. I encourage you to follow my page. I have not been silent about this. I've been very vocal and people laugh at me. People have threatened my life. But we're still here. Bam Morales, at the instruction of Susan Rubalcaba, for the people, quote unquote, brought these people together. Gustavo de Leon, a former federal agent. A former federal agent we thought was going to be the knight in shining armor. What happened? Not even 2 weeks after he was sworn in, he was already demanding, with Pedro Cárdenas, demanding that Carlos Elizondo, that has a very sketchy background, be hired for the city. Again, I want you, Republican Party, to question leadership. Now, again, I am well aware, ladies and gentlemen, I am well aware that not everybody thinks that way. I want to believe in my heart that the Republican Party is conservative, that they do follow President Trump's quest to protect American interests at all costs, and even that against the drug cartels. President Trump has been very vocal about that. Now, does Susan believe that? Does Deborah believe that? Because they have someone that have questionable ties to the mob right next to them. And they're not making a peep. and they're not even bringing it up to your attention. Is the Republican Party that desperate, ladies and gentlemen? That desperate, really? Nepotism, ladies and gentlemen, is against the law. And we've seen how a current BISD board member, Minera Peña, was recently arrested for similar allegations. Is Pedrito Cárdenas going to get arrested for nepotism? Are authorities aware that this happened? Again, you may think that I'm lying. And Republican Party, I ask you to question my credibility. If you think that I'm lying in my allegations, which I made against Pedrito Cárdenas and Gustavo de Leon, where I stated that they went into the speak with the city manager, and it was not just, it was a handful of people, and they demanded for a certain someone to get a job. If you think, ladies and gentlemen, Republican Party, if you think that I'm lying and you wholeheartedly believe in Pedrito Cárdenas and you wholeheartedly believe that he should get the endorsement of your party, ask him. Ask him, call him. Let him know that we invite him. We send an invitation for the show. We want to know, sir. It's a simple yes or no. Again, if I accused you, my community, if I accused you of doing something wrong, if I accused you and you know deep down inside you didn't do it, what would you say? You are crazy. You would deny it. You would post it on Facebook. You would say, man, those allegations, they're false. I would never do that. Some have done that. Trey Mendez did that. But once I started asking him questions, he started deleting comments. Roy de los Santos said that I made a false allegation against this person. And, oh, you're not credible because Gustavo de Leon did not appoint Martin Sarkis to the PUB board. We posted the video. If you haven't seen it already, go to my page, Frankie Olivo, on Facebook. We deal with nothing but facts. If you think that I'm lying, if I'm making these false allegations against your endorsed candidate, Pedrito Cárdenas of the Republican Party, ask him, did you strong arm the city manager? Did you break the law? Did you and Gustavo de Leon try to get this man who is a thief named Carlos Elizondo a job? Did you? Yes, it's a simple yes or no. What are they going to say, ladies and gentlemen? They're going to deny it. They're going to say that they don't know what you're talking about, that I'm crazy. But you know what they won't do? They won't deny it in public. You know why? Because you're going to piss off the authorities. Again, do the authorities know? A lot of people watch Good Morning Brownsville, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm very thankful for it. And we've made it our mission in life to do so. But again, this is the type of people that the Republican Party is going to endorse. Carlos Elizondo, for what, you may ask? He's going to be running. Now, I have made serious allegations against this person that he has created a fake Facebook page that had viciously attacked and targeted employees. He was ruthless. How him and his wife turned a blind eye while Rivera High School, where his wife worked for over 20 years, was a breeding ground for children. Are you okay with that? With him being a representative for the Republican Party? Really? What happened to our morals? What happened to our conservative ideology, Republican Party? What happened to that? Again, to the heavy hitters. To the heavy hitters, we're going to talk about what's going on. Are you ready? Are you ready to learn about the insight into what these people are conspiring to do? Again, to Representatives Jenny Lopez, Aaron Gomez, County Judge Eddie Trevino, Steve Guerra, Commissioner Joey Lopez. This is what's going to transpire in the very near future. It is stated that the Republican Party will be pushing for Carlos Elizondo to run up against Joey Lopez in the very near future. Now, again, this individual, they're trying to get him a job at the city. He is currently a nurse. He has a nurse practitioner license that he's working at DHR. He's going to get fired at DHR. They don't want him at DHR. BISD, they have tentacles everywhere. Again, it's a $500 million entity. They're very powerful. They have a lot of information. And DHR knows and hears about what is going on. They know the type of person that Carlos Elizondo is. He's a thief. He threatened my life. He threatened my life, ladies and gentlemen. You know what he said? You know what this coward said? He said, call Erasmo. You're going to need help. Who says that, ladies and gentlemen? Who says to an individual that recently lost a loved one, not even 2 months, call your uncle. You're going to need it. I took that as a threat on my life. Again, we are very well aware of the danger that we face. But we don't run from danger, ladies and gentlemen. We don't run away from it. We run to it. We want to be in the front lines. We want to be remembered as that person that stuck up to bullies, that fought for what was right, that shed light on injustices. We want to be that person. It's gone to a point where my mother is even asking me, son, please be careful. She knows I've made a mission in life to do what's right because I learned from somebody that I care for deeply, who taught me you always seek the truth no matter what happens. And if that means that harm is coming your way, so be it, kid. So be it. And guess what? I posted the video, ladies and gentlemen, of Carlos Elizondo, and I went live and I told the world, hey, this just happened to me at the BISD board meeting. A school board member threatened my life. And what do you see here? Miss Deborah Bell laughing at me, belittling me. Ha, 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 ha. You got threatened with your life. Ha, 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 ha. Really, ma'am? Really? How would you like it if your life was threatened? You'd be scared. You'd be all up in a frenzy. Your husband, how would your husband like this? He'd be mad. He'd be upset. Again, I understand the dangers in which I risk. But this is bigger than me. Brownsville is corrupt to the core, and I'm making the allegations that the Republican Party is allowing for this to happen because they have someone with a sketchy background that they're going to endorse. I do not like that. I am for the people, unlike Susan. I call a spade a spade. My friends aren't corrupt, and if you're my friend and you're corrupt, get the hell off me because I'm not like that. Here you have leadership, position, Susan, who's come to Torito every time. Yes, meeting. Yes. Who's endorsing a mobster. Doesn't have a job. Washed $100,000. They're going to endorse Carlos Elizondo to run up against Joey Lopez. And she laughed at me when I stated, when I went public to the world, that this man threatened my life. That he said that I should call my uncle. Really, Deborah? I want you to see, Republican Party, the type of leadership that you have. I'm painting a picture for you to see. Now, again, I'm not alleging that everybody is like that, but again, a few bad apples. Unfortunately, a few bad apples does, taint everything. Everything. Now, again, we are making allegations against Carlos Elizondo, who will soon be your candidate for Cameron County Commissioner Precinct 2. We made serious allegations in regards to his person. that he had a fake Facebook page, that he was attacking individuals, that him as a board member had all this sensitive information, and he was using it to abuse, to harass employees, principals. Ladies and gentlemen, when I tell you that grown men and women were scared and they reached out to me, who I'm a nobody, it's because they were scared, legitimately scared. And who was behind it? Mr. Carlos Elizondo. And look what not Jazz Marie has to say. Elizabeth Durham. She came on yesterday's program. If you didn't see my program, please go look at it. It's titled, Will Pedrito Cardenas be charged with nepotism? And in that show, I got upset because Elizabeth Durham, who I believe is a Republican, correct me if I'm wrong. I know you probably don't want to claim her. Like, no. Esa ruca no. Esa no. Esa. Go to my show. She says, I don't care about what you say about Pedrito. I'm going to vote for him. I'm like, what, Elizabeth? I'm making serious allegations against his character. We fight against, don't we scream at the top of our lungs, enough is enough with corruption? And here you have someone saying, it's okay. Really? Again, I'm not accusing the party as a whole, but hey, if you have Elizabeth, if you have Susan, if you have Deborah Obell, the two ladies in charge who claim to be the legends, the legend, Batman and Robin, yeah, here we go. If they don't see corruption within their own party, within their own candidate, we have a problem. Look what not Jazz Marie has to say. Elizabeth Durham knew about the BISD scandal before it was released. Demand that she release her messages, conversations with Jazz Marie. I'm painting a picture for you, ladies and gentlemen, of how your party leadership is bringing questionable characters that will be endorsed by your party. Are you okay with that? What do you have to say? Are you gonna demand transparency from leadership? Or are you just gonna say, well, okay, I guess Pedro, okay, yes, he washed $100,000. It's not so bad. He doesn't have a job. Well, it's a rough economy, and who needs a job today, right? Really? You have a person such as Carlos Elizondo, who threatened my life, who is a thief, who people at City Hall do not want this man back because they know the type of character that he is. He's a piece of crap. They know how he is. But that is going to be your candidate, ladies and gentlemen, for Precinct 2 for Cameron County. How do you feel about that? Now, Judge Eddie Trevino. Look, say what you want about Eddie Trevino. He's strong. He's very strong. Again, that's my opinion. The reason why I say that, ladies and gentlemen, is because whenever the whole Tanasca thing happened, Susan, of all people, was one of those people that said, after the fact that people knew, attorneys, engineers, contractors, PUB, once they found out that Tanasca was not going to come into fruition, these people were still billing in the millions of dollars, in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And you say, whoa. Shouldn't they stop billing? Because, hey, we're paying taxes for a project that we expect it's not coming through. Why are they still billing? And if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, Susan, I know you're watching. Didn't you make you requested information that showed that Eddie Trevino and his law firm recouped like what, $1 million, $2 million? And you made a big stink about this. You said, he's corrupt. So people are corrupt to you only when it's convenient to you, Susan? Why don't you call a spade a spade? Isn't that what your platform is all about? Now you're making your profile private? Why? What do you have to hide, ma'am? A leader, bring me up. A leader shows his face. A leader does not have to hide like Carlos, who made a fake Facebook page. A leader stands up to corruption, lets the people know, I will be your champion. I will call a spade a spade. At least that it is to me, ladies and gentlemen. Why isn't it like that for Susan? Why isn't it like that for Deborah? Why is Deborah laughing at me when I accuse Carlos Elizondo of threatening my life? Why does she think that's funny? Because that's her candidate for Precinct 2. They see nothing wrong with Pedrito doing all his mumbo jumbo. Why? Because that's their candidate for Precinct 2. So we have, for county judge race, we will be having Mauro Garza challenge Judge Eddie Trevino. Again, say what you want about Eddie Trevino. Personally, I've had my reservations about his character. But again, after what happened at Tanasca, Judge Carlos Cascos, who was a very strong conservative, and I know y'all know who what he was all about, he ran against Judge Eddie Trevino. And you know what? I bet on Carlos Cascos. I said, man, there's no way Carlos Cascos is gonna lose after this whole Tanasca deal. There's no way he's gonna lose. There's no way. It looks bad for Judge Trevino. Well, what happened? He won. Eddie Trevino won handsomely. Correct me if I'm wrong. I see Miss Minerva Simpson on. I see other Republican members of the Republican Party here on. Mauro Garza ran for Congress or Senate. Was it Senate against Stapleton? Or was it Congress? Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. He ran for something high. He had a bus. I had a picture of a bus. He had a big bus that he had, Mauro for Texas. What was it? Senator or Congress? I'm not sure. I forgot about that. But that is who will be running against Judge Eddie Trevino. Miss Simpson. You happen to vet the candidates. Is that right, Miss Simpson? I believe you don't sit in the committee. I think you are in charge of vetting the candidates. I forget what the title is. So you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I hope you question leadership in regards to these candidates. Again, I'm not alleging that all of the Republican Party is in support of these questionable characters of Gustavo de Leon, Carlos Elizondo, Pedrito Cárdenas. I'm not saying it's all the Republican Party, but it's those in leadership. Yes, you are in charge of the vetting process. That's a good question. Ms. Simpson, is he from Kingsville? Is he from Willacy County? I'm not too familiar with his person, to be honest. I just remember he had this big bus, Model for Texas. Now it's District 34. Also, ladies and gentlemen, if you weren't aware of the plans, Ms. Gomez, Representative Gomez, I invited you today to stick around. Well, thank you for watching Good Morning Brownsville, ma'am. Now you have something to talk to your constituents about, because if you stick around for a little bit longer, we're going to drop the surprise from yesterday. I hope you do. And I appreciate you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Another surprise, ladies and gentlemen, that we have in store for you is that Deborah Bell, that individual that think it's funny for a community member, a concerned citizen that made strong allegations against a board member and his wife of overlooking child grooming. I went up on that stage and I said, Carlos Elizondo and his wife were well aware of over 20 years that children were being groomed at Rivera High School. What did Carlos do? He threatened my life. Why? Because he knows I'm right. He's a coward. He's a piece of crap. He resorts to violence. Again, I'm a big boy. I can fight for myself. I'm okay. But if you start threatening me with my life, let's do it like gentlemen. Won't beat you around. Why do you have to resort to violence? Because you're a coward. You're weak. You're weak up here and you're weak down there. Coward. But then again, that's going to be your candidate, Republican Party, for Precinct 2. Deborah Bell thought it was funny that I was threatened with my life. How would she feel? How would she feel if somebody threatened her and said, hey, call your dead aunt, call your dead uncle, Deborah Bell, you're going to need help. She'd be, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Her husband would be upset, rightfully so. So why is it funny for her to laugh at me? I'm a big boy, I understand. But whenever you disrespect a deceased person like that, that just shows to your character, or the lack of character, the lack of respect for mankind, for humanity. But that is the type of person that Deborah Bell is. And here she wants to be your candidate to go up against Miss Erin Gámez. Nambre. Ni le llega los talones a Miss Gámez. Y con todo respeto, Miss Gámez. She's a very fine woman, intelligent, bright, beautiful, a fighter for the community. Going up against who? Deborah Bell. Shame on you, Deborah Bell. Shame on you, ma'am. So again, we have Carlos, piece of crap, going up against a strong opponent, Joey Lopez. Strong opponent. The Lopez family is known throughout all of Brownsville. We have Mauro Garza, who, you know, Miss Simpson. How did Mauro do in the race? Came in fourth, third. Who would even think that he'd win against Eddie Trevino? But hey, you know, maybe they think, ladies and gentlemen, they think that they won Rio Grande Valley. No, President Trump won Rio Grande Valley. It wasn't y'all. Y'all can't take credit for this. Y'all didn't do crap. This was all President Trump and also President Biden and his administration. They failed the country. The country was so pissed off that they said, we can't handle this no more. We can't live 4 more years of this. It wasn't Deborah Bell who turned Cameron County red. That's a slap in the face of Jared Hockema. I think very highly of Mr. Hockema. We may not agree on certain things, but hey, my respects to the man. He runs a tight ship, and guess what? For this midterms, he's coming. He's coming. You know he is, and I bet he is. I respect the man. And again, Steve Guerra, Mr. Steve Guerra, sir, I hope you're watching. And if not, I hope that your friends, those close to you, let you in on a little secret that I'm about to let you in on. Yesterday, the Republican Party met for a reason. Ms. Simpson, with all due respect, ma'am, again, I understand you did work hard. I understand. But for Deborah Bell to say that because of her, no, ma'am. Again, I mean no disrespect. I hold you in high regards, and I encourage you. I appreciate you coming on, and I hope you continue to do so. And I mean no disrespect, but look at the landscape, ma'am. It wasn't just the Rio Grande Valley that turned red. It was all of the United States that turned red. The Democrats flopped. So, again, we appreciate your work and we admire your passion. We really do. And we need more people like you, Miss Simpson. We really do. I would like to have a sit down with you if you let me, just to get to know you. Maybe we can help each other. I really want a better Brownsville. You, I'm sure, want a better Harlingen. And together, maybe we can make a better Cameron County. That is what I'm about. That is why I get up every day, Monday through Friday. Deborah Bell seems to claim that I don't work, that I have all the time in the world. No, I work. I'm a broker. But I take time. I sacrifice my time because I genuinely, in my heart, I want a better community. I want a better quality of life for all our future kids and all our future generations. I genuinely want that. But I mean no disrespect when I say it wasn't Miss Deborah Bell. It wasn't Miss Minerva Simpson that turned Cameron County red. No, ma'am. Again, I say this with all humility and all due respect. That was President Trump. That was the Democratic Party who flopped. Living was getting crazy. Rent was unaffordable. Gas prices was through the roof. We couldn't travel. We couldn't do anything. People voted with their pocketbooks in this past November. Again, it wasn't just a Rio Grande issue. It was a United States issue. President Trump flipped the swing states, the 7 swing states red. It was painted red. They went to go paint the country red. Again, I admire your passion, and if you give me an opportunity, I would like to get to know you. I think that I've heard great things about you. I think the world of you. And I know that you genuinely want a better community for your kids, for your grandkids, for your family. That's the same thing I want, ma'am. But what bothers me is that we have people in leadership positions at the Republican Party that are doing these things. How can we not call out corruption when it's right under our nose? Mira, estamos aquí, right here, on the corruption. I'm for the people. Allá. Corrupt. Roy, corrupt. Susan, what about Pedrito? What? Squirrel, what? Again, Miss Banda, do you think current Democrats are doing a great job for Brownsville and the Rio Grande Valley? I'll be very honest with you. Banda, and thank you so much for stopping by. Growing up, and look, I'm very frank. I'm very honest. Hey, my name's Frankie. Growing up, we lived in a middle class household. I'm very thankful. I had an amazing childhood. My mom, my tias, my grandparents, it took a village to raise us. I had every opportunity to be successful in life. We grew up on food stamps. I remember what it was like to get those things of the dollar bill with the people, and I would go to the tortilleria Capistran by Perez Elementary at Rockwell Apartments, and I bought things. I stole some chicles one time. I was like, "Hey, you want to do chicle?" My mom beat the hell out of me. Chicle. Like, I love it. I remember what it was like getting the cheese. Remember the cheese? I remember the struggle. I had a beautiful childhood. I wouldn't change it for the world. So I grew up as a Democrat. I grew up genuinely believing that, hey, we need to help out our brothers and sisters. We do need to do better for our community. There's so much social programs that are available. Let's give them to the people. The older I got, I have a bachelor's. I have a master's. I'm a business owner now. With all the turmoil, Banda, that has been going on in Cameron County, I've been disgusted with the Democratic Party as of late. If you go to my page, I was posting President Trump stuff way back, and people were giving me crap. So, how do I feel about the Democratic Party? I think the Democratic Party is corrupt to the core. That is why I am so upset that the Republican Party is allowing this to happen. Why? Because the Republicans, they pride themselves on being conservative, doing what's right. They want to talk about Jared Hakama. They want to talk about all these corrupt Democrat politicians. And look what they're doing. There's an elephant. There's an elephant in the room. And nobody says anything. So that's how I feel, Banda. Now, many people have asked me, what will you do? Will you be running for Precinct 1 for Cameron County? Maybe. I was considering joining the Republican Party. But after this, after the disrespect that I received from the chairwoman, that she laughed in my face that I was being threatened, after I called out Susan for not calling a spade, how only certain people are corrupt but not her candidate, I don't know. And look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say this with all humility. I don't need a party. I have the biggest platform, and I say this with all humility, Captain Bob. I say this with all humility. We have eyeballs watching us like crazy. And I'm thankful for that in my community. I'm very thankful for that. I really am. And best believe, I will never weaponize this mic. I will always use it for the better good of our people. I made a promise to you, and I will live by that promise to the very end. If I run, I do not need a party because I have a big platform and people tune in and they say, what the hell is that guy talking about? But you know what? They know that I'm on the right side. They listen. They talk to people. Random people that I don't even know are messaging me and saying, hey, man, I did not know who you were. Síguele echando ganas. So I don't need a party. I'm not your traditional candidate. You know what I have? The backing of a community that is sick and tired of corruption, a community that wants a leader that's going to tell them the truth, that's going to bring the skeletons out the closet, going to tell them what we're dealing with, because that's what leaders do. They fight. They address issues. We solve problems. But we always walk with our head up high, and we always speak the truth. So if I run, I do not need a party. And I say this with all humility because I know that I have a strong backing by my community. People are sick and tired of electing individuals such as Gustavo de Leon, who was a former federal agent. Not 2 weeks in, he's already colluding with Pedro Cárdenas, strong-arming the city manager to get Carlos Elizondo, your future candidate for Precinct 2, a job. Really? Again, I have a strong backing by my community, and I'm very humbled by that. And I know that if I go to bat for them, that they will come out and support because they know that they have a platform. This is the community's platform. This isn't Frankie talking, how Deborah Bell said, oh, you talk for an hour and a half to nobody. Girlfriend, we get watched by the masses, by the thousands. There's a community out there that is sick and tired of people like you, people like Susan, who don't speak the truth. You may laugh at me and think I'm insignificant, but this microphone right here, it's making waves. Good Morning Brownsville is in the voice, is in the mouths, is in the discussions of many people. Did you hear what that guy said? Check it out. So that's how I feel about the Democratic Party, Banda. And if I ever run, I'm not going to seek the help of a party because I have something bigger, something that they do not have, the backing of my community. Again, Mr. Steve Guerra, and to the people of Mr. Steve Guerra, Pedrito Cárdenas is working against you, Mr. Steve Guerra. And why do I say this? Well, because they're friends. They're family members, cousins, acquaintances, related. They're friends. They know each other very well. Mr. Steve Guerra, today's program was specifically for you, sir. That way you could be made aware of what's going on. Again, I'm possibly sure that you already know about this, maybe. But I want to drive this point a little bit further down home because this might affect you. This might bother you, sir. Because Pedrito Cárdenas is being endorsed by the Republican Party in exchange for in exchange for Bam Bam. There is an agreement between the Republican Party and Pedrito Cárdenas. So when Susan says, I don't have an agenda, yes, you do, Susan. Tell the people the truth. The agenda, ladies and gentlemen, that I've been talking about over and over again. My people, don't listen to Susan. She is not what's right. She does not have your best interest at heart. She has an agenda to get Pedrito elected. Why? So Pedrito could support Bam Bam. Now, Mr. Guerra, who is lying here? Again, Mr. Bam Bam. Bam Bam is Bam Morales, but I'm going to call him Bam Bam. Oh, before I start, sir, bring me up. Sir, you're a pastor, a preacher. Stop wearing designer clothes, man. It's a bad look. Jesús anduvo en burro. Y tú andas acá paleteando de que, ay, Versace, designer belt, y acá bien paletoso. Humble yourself. Your own party does not like that. Come on, man. Again, just very quickly, who is Bam Morales? He is a contractor for ICE. He's deporting the illegals. Now, the question is, could Bam Morales run in a bipartisan race since he is working for or under ICE as a contractor? And again, Bam, you pride yourself on being a conservative, but a pastor that's wearing a designer belt? My community is outraged by that. They want a humble servant. Now, this is where Pedrito comes into play, Steve. The Republican Party is heavily supporting Cárdenas in his runoff race in exchange for, here's your agenda, Susan. Here's your agenda. The Republican Party is heavily supporting Cárdenas in his runoff race in exchange for Pedro Cárdenas' help in getting Bam Morales into Congress. Now, let's ask ourselves, ladies and gentlemen, let's be real. Do we really think that Pedrito is going to endorse Bam over Vicente Gonzalez? Really? Really? Who's lying here? Is Pedrito lying to Susan and Deborah? Or is Pedrito lying to Steve, his friend? Which is it? Somebody's lying. Mr. Guerra, you're very close to Pedrito. Have you asked him about this? What does he have to say about that? Is this to where every man for himself and Pedrito is making all kinds of promises just to get elected? Let's say he gets elected and then it comes down to it. He's not going to go up against Vicente. He knows better. Say what you want about Vicente. He's strong. Steve Guerra is strong. Is Pedrito really going to lose the support of all his allies? Because again, the same people pushing for Pedrito are the same people pushing for Vicente. So again, someone is lying, ladies and gentlemen. But who is lying? Again, what really helped Mayra Flores was that she was a female. She lived the American dream. She was born Mexican. She was the first Mexican woman sworn into Mexican-born woman sworn into Congress. If Mayra Flores, who was very strong, if Mayra Flores couldn't be Vicente Gonzalez 2 times, what makes us think that Bam Morales could? Serious question. Mr. Guerra, look into this, sir. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, or maybe this was Pedrito's way of, hey, wait, I'm just going to get in y luego me hago el sonso. Como siempre se hace. ¿Qué? No, what? You want my what? Against who? Vicente? No, meta loco. So who's lying here? Is Pedrito lying to Susan and Deborah just to get their support in the runoff? Does Steve know about this? You don't want to piss off Steve. Mr. Guerra, are you aware of this? Or are you just finding out? You have your eyes and ears and everywhere. I'm more than sure someone told you. But this is what's going on. Pedrito, no, the Republican Party made a deal with Pedrito, who's corrupt. They don't care. They're desperate. But the agenda, Susan, you do have an agenda, is we help out Pedrito. Pedrito wins. Pedrito will help Bam against Vicente Gonzalez. Really? Susan, you believe that? Pedrito's going to turn his back on all his friends? Really? I don't think so, because he knows that that well will run dry quick. Very quick. I don't think he wants that. So, again, to the people of Vicente Gonzalez, how do you think? And look, chat, even though we were off the tube for 5 minutes, we've had 1,200 people view our show. Wow. You see? Good Morning Brownsville does make waves, Miss Bell. I'm going to post it. Look. I'm going to post it right now para que no digan, no, you did it. You lie. You're a liar. Mira, sas. 1,200 views. And we're still live, baby. Look, I'm going to post it para que no digan, chinga. 1,200 views and we're still live, doggy. ¿Qué hubo? Mira. Again, who's lying? Now, again, yesterday they had a meeting, and guess what, Republicans? Guess what, De Zamora? Guess what, City of Brownsville District 4? Guess what the Republicans are going to do? The Republican Party met yesterday for their monthly meeting, and they had on the agenda to spend money to send mass text messages for the runoff elections. Obel, or someone in there, stated that one of the candidates have come forward that needed the party's help to get involved. And, well, Pedro, he's been to the meetings and he's ready to work for them. Y'all do know that Pedrito is a Democrat, right? And Pedrito does this exactly the same what he's doing with you. He's doing with the Democrats. You fell for it? Really? Come on, man. If I could smell that a mile away, y'all can't, and it's right there under your nose. Really? So a text message, ladies and gentlemen, will be encouraging voters to vote for Pedrito Cárdenas. Republicans will spend a lot of money on this because, again, this is expensive to do so. Very expensive. What does Congressman Vicente Gonzalez have to say about this, Mr. Guerra? Is he aware of what your compadre Pedrito has been promising? Is this sort of everyday politics to where we like, hey, you do anything to stay on top. You do anything to get elected. And if that's so, hey, man, you know, it is what it is. But I wonder what Mr. Gonzalez, Congressman Gonzalez, I apologize. I wonder what Congressman Gonzalez has to say about this. Maybe, just maybe, Mr. Gonzalez might even endorse Ms. Zamora. I don't know. That may not be far-fetched. Nurit and Pedrito will be endorsed by the Republican Party. Nurit and Pedrito. So, Mr. Guerra, are you aware of this, sir? Does the congressman know about this? That someone who claims to be a Democrat is conspiring with the Republican Party to get elected, and once that happens, that candidate, Pedrito Cárdenas, is going to support Bam Morales to run against Vicente Gonzalez. You can't make this up, ladies and gentlemen. This is a movie. Y está bien buena la cosa, chingado. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I pose to you the question to the Republican Party. Are you okay with this transpiring? Are you okay with this individual that is seeking the endorsement, or no, that he will get the endorsement of the Republican Party? The Republican Party is going to spend thousands of dollars sending text messages saying to endorse Pedrito Cárdenas. This is the wild, wild west where deals are made, quid pro quo. Yes, Susan, there is an agenda. You do have an agenda to get Pedrito elected so Pedrito could help Bam Morales. Again, we understand that many people are questioning transplant candidates, so to speak, that, oh, he was a Democrat, now he's a Republican. Make no question about it. Pedrito is a diehard Democrat through and through. He won't admit that he's supporting the Republicans. Where have you seen a picture of him with the Republican Party? Why doesn't he do it? Because he knows he's going to piss off Steve. He knows he's going to piss off the congressman. Pero las escondiditas, ¿qué? Sí, baby, tú eres mía, yo te quiero. Mira, oh, baby, oh. Pero, hey, en escondidas. Nomás en escondidas. What's your take on this, ladies and gentlemen? We are making serious allegations in regards to the Republican Party's candidate to fill the seat at the City Commission. We have made strong allegations in regards to his character. We have openly stated and publicly that the voters, they should be aware that Mr. Cárdenas does not have an income. He was running his family business and that was taken away from him. His sister replaced him. Why? Because he wasn't paying his taxes. He wasn't paying the liquor license. He was stealing from the employees. It got so bad, ladies and gentlemen, that it took Pedrito Cárdenas 6 months to file a campaign finance report of reportedly $100,000 in quote unquote donations. I'm not a white crime specialist, but if that's not washing money, I don't know what is. Ladies and gentlemen, while the Republicans While the Republicans talk crap about the Democratic Party of being corrupt, that we need new blood, while the Republicans' ideology is that of being a conservative, we salute President Trump, who's trying to fix our national security, who has openly targeted and denounced cartel members. What has the Republican Party done? They have one right next to them. Yes, we support you, President Trump. Yes, drug cartels, criminal organizations. Yes, yes. Oh, but he's right here. Where? I don't see anything. What? We come before our community because we give you the good, the bad, and the ugly, ladies and gentlemen. According to Ms. Simpson, she wasn't aware of Mr. Cárdenas's sketchy past or current. Why not? Shouldn't those people in leadership positions, shouldn't Deborah Obel, shouldn't Susan Rubalcaba be open and transparent and for the people by letting them know who are they endorsing? Really? That's a slap in the face to all the Republicans who are not made aware of this. You should demand transparency from your own party. You should ask for questions. Why is this happening? Why am I finding out from a vato from Brownsville? Why? Because we are transparent, because we do seek the truth, and we do give our face to the community. We don't hide. We don't block people. We show face because we want the community to know that we are fighters and we're willing to go down. And we've been threatened with lawsuits. We've been threatened with our lives. And look, mira, no pasa nada. You may hurt me. I may fall, but I'll get back up, mira. Y otro tiro, compa. That's the way I've always been. And I always will be. I give my face. I speak the truth. Sometimes it leads me towards dark alleys. And friends that I thought were friends are supporting these corrupt people. They're not my friends. I told you, I have no friends. My loyalty is to myself, to my brothers, and my mother. And also to you, my community. Also to you. I have no alliances with any of these corrupt political machine. My allegiance is to you. I hope that today's program sheds light on a very serious issue that your leaders of the Republican Party is not showing you. Ask them questions. Why isn't this being talked about? You deserve to know, because transparency is a word that Susan and Deborah use too loosely. They are not for the people. They have agendas, Susan. You do have an agenda. It's sad that people look up to you and they confide in you and they think that you are the people's champion. But Susan, you are a liar. You are a fraud for supporting someone with the background that is Pedro Cardenas. I hope you enjoyed today's show. Again, I am risking my neck out for you, Brownsville. I hope you appreciate me. I love what I do, baby. Mira? And we're good at it, baby. Ow! Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for your time and your attention. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. I am humbled by the opportunity that you give me to come on and tune in and see what this crazy madman is talking about. Best believe that I genuinely want a better Brownsville. I genuinely want a better quality of life. I am sick and tired of these corrupt people taking advantage of you and your money, your taxpayer money, our money. Ya basta. Enough is enough. Let's take what's ours. Let's stand up to these people. Let's pop them right in the mouth and let's say we're not cowards. We stand up to you. Let's take what's ours, ladies and gentlemen. We have an amazing opportunity in this runoff election to say no to Pedro Cardenas. We have an amazing opportunity in the very near future. We may run for something, and we hope that you give us an opportunity to be your voice. My name is Frankie Olivo, ladies and gentlemen, and this is Good Morning Brownsville. Hope to see you here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., same Batman time, and yes, same Batman channel. Peace!